Good afternoon, everybody. It's July 1st, 2023. It's 1 p.m. I cannot believe it's July already. Time sure flies when you're having so much fun. But before I get into reading a response from a subscriber and my commentary, please hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And welcome to all the newcomers. My name is Lorraine. So here's the response that I received from a subscriber, from a fellow targeted female, I'll say. Dear Lorraine, or hi Lorraine, I am glad to read your response and that you're doing well in spite of all you have on your plate down there. The program is pure evil. I believe I know the reason for my nomination, non-consensual human trafficking into the targeted individual program. When you brush up against the rightly and powerful in a court and you win, well, I guess the unbeknown, the average Jane, there are extrajudicial targeted punishments to be doled out. These are the things that no one tells you about our country. And I'm going to respond to that because this woman is not the only person that I've spoken to who has mentioned being involved in a lawsuit, whether it's a divorce or suing someone and winning and getting trafficked into this program. And I will attest to the fact that after 3.5 years of going through a horrible divorce with my ex-husband, during that time, I filed pro se. I actually filed pro se post-divorce also. And I have had 2 judges tell me that I should have gone to law school. I mean, I joked around with one and said, "Oh, are you willing to pay for it?" But I've had other attorneys approach me about my demeanor in court and how I literally took down my ex-husband's attorney, who I've discussed before. He's the creature that decided he was going to personality test me because I had been unemployed and staying home with my daughter for a few years. I was a corporate human resources manager, and he thought that after being home with my daughter for all those years, I should go back to working in New York City and earning the exact same salary that I was when I left. How foolish. Meanwhile, I had started my own business and I was doing quite well. I started my own staffing business called Integrated Staffing Resources, Inc. And I was the go-to person to source technology people to work on Wall Street. That's right, folks. I was interviewing the brokers and the traders and the technology people, the financial analysts and stuff to work on Wall Street, because I was able to utilize the internet to source these individuals, and my partners down there were still using fax machines, they were not using the internet. So this criminal lawyer, he wasn't a criminal lawyer. No, he is a criminal, and he was an attorney, thought it was appropriate to personality test me. It took a long time. It might have been 2 hours. It could have even been longer than that. And he thought that he'd be able to utilize that in court to get me to go back to work in New York City the way I did before, taking the focus off my ex-husband, who's already earning 6 figures and decided to leave and be supported by his new wife, who was earning so much more money. In fact, he had a better lifestyle with her than he did with me. But anyway, it backfired. So yes, I will attest to the fact that I have won in court. Not once and not twice, but several times. And I guess there is extrajudicial targeting punishments. Because when I sued a contractor who screwed up my paver patios, or actually his son did, I sued both him and his son in court, and it lasted a long time. And his lawyer hated my guts because I really didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have a caseload the way these attorneys do. My caseload was these 2 creepos. So I was able to file everything on a timely basis and screw them over. Well, his attorney didn't like it. And when I dropped off, I dropped off something for them to sign. This lawyer actually got up from his desk and said, if you don't leave my office, I'm going to have you arrested. I said, excuse me? I said, I'm dropping off. I'm hand delivering some documents that you need to read and sign. And he was really pissed off with me, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was another one of those creatures. And he's a piece of crap. He worked in Freehold, New Jersey. I can't say his name because I think he's still practicing law. And like I said, practicing. That's what they do. They practice. So anyway, I'll go on where she says, but also like you, I'm a strong and independent woman personality. These are federal hate crimes against women. Oh, by the way, I do what I want. I always have and always will. And if my mother were alive, she would tell you that I do whatever I want. Even if somebody asks me to do something that I want to do, if they kind of force me to do it, I will intentionally not do it because I want to do it on my own. Okay? So that's me. That's my personality. So she goes on to say, this is a federal hate crime against women. It's obvious these crimes are committed in a large part by men who hate women. These types of men, I have found, most especially hate independent, strong women. I agree, and I will interject is because they are little teeny weenies. That's right. They cannot stand up to a strong woman, so they want to take them down. That's right. They cannot compete with a strong woman because they're not strong themselves. So when all this got started, she realized that the government were the only ones with the resources and money to pull off what was happening to me. I couldn't get over the fact that my tax dollars were being used to torture me. The killings of our dogs and cats, your birds, are such an aberrant federal hate crime. The taking of our animals and replacing them with the different animals is equally evil. What is happening to us is straight up abomination of the human beings who carry out such crimes. I wish the committee investigating would watch your channel. It's all right there on your farm. Every single element of the program, along with a full county stand down to do anything about it. And for great shame on PETA, which is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and the Humane Society. Maybe they need to get a press release. These are federal hate crimes. And you have a full-on stand down by everyone whose job it is to help you. It is an aberrant dereliction of duty on every level. And yes, I'm going to call out all of those people. Former Sheriff Paul Hayes. The current sheriff, Daniel Isaacs. The county prosecutor lawyer, Ross Murray. Daniel Cameron, the attorney general. His criminal investigations division, who has not responded to me. Yes. The only person that actually did respond to me was our governor, Andy Beshear, but he forwarded me to the investigations committee. I have not heard back from Senator Rand Paul, and not only have I emailed him, mailed him, and left voice messages, I have not heard back from him on any level. He's a very busy man. The Department of State, I have not heard from. I did hear from the committee for Havana syndrome about 1.5 years ago. You know what they said? They said, well, you know what? We're just going to refer your case to the FBI. Okay, guys. Is that laughable or what? It's sort of like, filing a complaint with the Attorney General of New Jersey. And then they decide they're going to send back my 61-page complaint to the prosecutor's office, who sends it to the sheriff's department, who sends it back to the offenders, the Manalapan Police Department, who investigate their own selves. They investigated their own selves and found there to be no crimes. 61 pages of evidence. So yes, what is happening to us is a straight up abomination of human beings who carry out such crimes. It is an aberrant dereliction of duty on every level. And it is actually a violation of the Constitution and the Constitution of New Jersey and Kentucky. It is a violation of the oaths that the sheriffs take. Yes, it is. She says, anyway, I used to listen to the calls. I won't say what call. I think their hearts are in the right place, but as you know, these calls are all infiltrated all the time and cause more chaos. And I found less solutions in learning to manage how to be in this program and still conducting and running our own lives. So I stopped listening and attending any type of conference calls whatsoever many years ago. Same here. But I remember you years ago when you were in New Jersey and you found and bought your farm. And I remember thinking one day perhaps I would drive down there and meet you. I hope you do. I hope you do. And perhaps one day I will. Anybody is welcome to visit. I cannot pick you up at the airport. I cannot pick you up. There's no public transportation here. You have to get here yourself. So, anybody's welcome. Anybody's welcome to visit. You can stay, a day, a week, a couple of weeks. If we get along well, you can stay indefinitely. So she goes on to say, and perhaps one day I will. I've just retired. I finally have the time and resources to wage a legal battle here in my hometown against this targeting. Well, guess what? I think we all need to wage war against every sheriff. The sheriff is the law of the land, folks. The sheriff does not take orders from the county lawyer. And if he does, and stands down to a lawyer, he should be sued. It's the sheriff that allows the federal government into their communities. It is the sheriff that takes bribes. It is the sheriff that stands down. And it is the sheriff and the sheriff's department and their resources that should be sued. So I agree. I agree. And then, of course, you can go to the state. And you do go to the state after you filed a complaint with the Attorney General and nothing gets done when you have provided irrefutable evidence. Okay? Then you sue the state. I agree. So she says, I want to know who put me on this list. And I want to sue the pants off them. And I want to press criminal charges against them. And I'm sure everybody listening to this is thinking the exact same thing. I'm not going to say too much more about this. And she says, well, there is somebody there that has disclosed some things to her. There are actually 2 other women just like her that this person works with. So that means that at a fairly close proximity, there are 3 targeted females. Okay? She's got a big deadbolt. And unfortunately, she changed it 5 times. Well, guess what? I changed mine 3 times in Manalapan, New Jersey, 52 Sutton Drive. The reason I keep mentioning the address of my former residence is because I lived there so long. It was a beautiful house. And I want everybody to know who my perpetrators are. They are the neighbors to the left. When you face my house, to the left. They are the paid informants. And after my neighbors Andy and Chris Wazinski moved out and sold their home, the first set of perpetrators moved in, a husband and wife and her brother, and a couple of their obnoxious girls. And when I say obnoxious, I really mean obnoxious. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I remember my mother investigating them to find that they bought and sold a lot of houses and lived a lot of places. Yeah, there were those flippers, you know. But they're much more than flippers. They're perpetrators, paid for hire. They were home all the time, monitoring everything I did. And within 1 year to the date, they sold that house. And guess what? They moved directly across the street. In the exact same model home. Exactly the same. And started renovating that one while continuing to perpetrate crimes against me. But then the new criminals moved in. Yeah. The ones that had to deal with the Manalapan Police Department. That's why I mentioned my address. I want you to go look up my home address. There are still photos of what my house looked like then. Of course, the landscaping wasn't nearly what it was, 5, 10 years before. The landscaping was absolutely gorgeous. So she says, I want to know who put me on the list. And I want to sue the pants off them. One locksmith with 3 women having the same issues as targeted individuals. And the guy works for the, how should I say it? He works for the department, DHS. This is what happens, folks. Let me tell you about my locksmith. I had the worst locksmith when I moved here. I hired him to install a deadbolt on my door, and he refused. He said, oh, it's foolish to install a deadbolt on your door when you've got a window on your door. They could just puncture a hole in the window and reach their arm in around and open up your door. Yes, this was a locksmith. Kentucky locksmith. Yeah, when I find his sorry name, I already filed a complaint on, what was that website? But they removed it. Almost all of the complaints that I posted have been removed by these criminals. He was the worst possible locksmith. He was covered in tattoos. He was former military. He shows up in the heat. He's got a dog in the car barking, barking, barking. And then he evidently had information on me. Do you know any locksmith that researches their client before they show up? This guy did. He had the audacity to turn to me when I was handing him something else to install. He said, well, he says, you have a doctorate. Don't you know how to install it? I kid you not. It's like, where would he have gotten that information from? Yeah. Yeah, this is the Kentucky locksmith guy. Former military. She says, anyway, I'm sorry to read about the eggs there today. You know how they killed all of my guinea hen's eggs. They should have had dozens of babies by now. And they're all dead. They have not hatched any babies. And as I mentioned, some of the other eggs have been stolen because I'm sure other people are hatching them. But that's okay. If I find those guineas, they'll be flocking here because I've got a bunch of them. And those guineas, unless you lock them up, unless you've got them caged up, they're going to be flying to my property. I guarantee they'll be here. So she says, I'm sorry to read about the eggs there today. It's such a horrible thing they're doing to you there. I know how hard we have it with resources and our incomes. They have hit us so hard on so many levels to sabotage everything that we do to support ourselves. It's almost impossible for TIs to have anything. The constant ruining of things in our homes and in our properties. It's a lot to manage. It's hard. Some days it feels impossible to survive. Like you, my body feels so battered from the weapon hits. The heating of my brain, it's just disgusting, really. Anyway, targeting is certainly not for the faint of heart. I will keep you in my prayers, and I look forward to your continued postings on your channel. You have my support and admiration for how you manage it all and refuse to give up. And thank you for your tremendous spirit. God bless you, Lorraine. And thank you so much, honey. I so appreciate it. I do what I do not only to document what is happening to me here. I want these local people, I want everybody to hear, because I guarantee they don't know everything that goes on. They hear tidbits and little pieces and stuff. They don't get the full picture because they too are being lied to. But I live in an area, a small town, and there is a lot of corruption here. I guarantee they've been doing this for decades here. I believe they've been doing it for decades here. I believe that they were targeting the former owner. I do. Not to the extent that I am. But I believe that they were targeting him. I can see it from what they did to his home. I see it. Evil. It's pure evil. There's thunder in the background. We're supposed to be getting some rain. But along these lines, I'm going to go back and read what she said in the beginning here. She said, like you, I'm a strong and independent woman personality. These are federal hate crimes against women. It's obvious these crimes are committed in large part by men who hate women. These types of men, I have found, most especially hate independent, strong women. And I'm going to read something to you folks that before she passed away, well, I'm going to say in 2018, okay? I was in contact on a fairly regular basis with Julianne McKinney. I don't know what it was. We just sort of hit it off, although she really rubbed me the wrong way so many times. Like she just had a way with words, you know? So I just cut and pasted something that I remember her writing, and I have to read this to you folks. This is coming from a former military, right? Military woman. She says, I suspect you are being targeted because you are you are an overly confident, quote-unquote, bitch. No offense intended. And the objective is to knock you down to the perps, preferred lowest common denominator. Overly self-confident bitches are truly hated by these freaks. Speaking from direct experience of more than a half a century. You say that if you move, you will be successful. Be advised that this country is divided into TI-focused operational sectors. And if you are a TI, you are centrally tracked and hence subject to continuing harassment. And she put in big, bold print. Wherever you go, feel free to test this out. At least you won't be surprised. She wrote that to me December 13, 2018. That's right, folks. December 13, 2018, written by Julianne McKinney. She says, I suspect that you're being targeted because you are an overly self-confident bitch. No offense intended, she says. The objective is to knock you down to the perps' preferred lowest common denominator. Well, I'm sorry, little weenie perpetrators. You little sorry weenie boys and girls. You may think you're knocking me down a notch. You're just making me stronger. Even with your directed energy weapons and targeting the left side of the back of my tongue to affect my speech, targeting my brain so that the cerebral fluid leaks from my nasal passages every day. Just so you know, folks, I do what I want. I'm always going to do what I want because I was given the gift from my parents. I was gifted from my parents the ability to think for myself, to be independent, to create, to be a good person, be kind, love animals, support our fellow people. My father taught me to play chess at a really young age. I don't really know how to play it anymore, but I remember playing with my father and my brother, and also, what was the other one? Playing checkers. And chess is all about strategy. It's all about strategy. It's all about predicting what the next thing, the other move is going to make. So keep that in mind, folks. It's very difficult to predict what these criminals are going to do next. But let's face it, it's all scripted. It's the same script over and over and over and over again. And just because they're quiet, it doesn't mean they're not going to act up like a bunch of little sorry 2-year-olds having hissy fits. It's July 1st. July is new day, new month. And now it's actually torrential rain, folks. We've got a lot of rain coming down. Not that we didn't need it, but you know what? I always say, like, why couldn't it wait until after I cut the rest of the grass? So anyway, please hit the thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Are you an overly self-confident female? Are you what's considered to be a bitch? I don't know. No one's ever called me that before. No one's ever actually called me that before. So I remember when Julianne said it, I think she said it mostly because this is what ineffective, envious, and weak men consider strong women. Because the qualities of an independent, strong woman, if we were a man, it would be revered. Oh, we'd get a pat on the back. We'd get a salary increase. We'd get a promotion. But if we possess the same qualities of a successful male, oh, no, 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 no. That's not allowed, even though we are the only ones that can bear a child. And yeah, I'm going to say that. No, we are the only ones with a uterus that can bear a child, that will carry a child and nurse a child and bring a child into the world. And that's what makes us strong. Do you have any idea what it's like to carry a baby inside for 9 months, or in my case, almost 10 months, and gain 61 pounds? Yeah, I gained 61 pounds. That made me really strong. Maybe totally strong. So yeah, all you little weenie boys out there, you little police with the badges that don't do your jobs and you like to target women. How does your mommy feel about what you do for a living? How do your mothers, your grandmothers feel? How about your father? If they like what you do, put a little check mark in the box. You know karma's on its way to you. Every time you back down from crime in your community, you're getting smacked with more Karmageddon. More karma's on its way to you. And yeah, it does come. If it's not going to be in this lifetime, it'll be in the next. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading signing off for now. It's 1:31 p.m.